Let's look into which U.S. cities are attracting the most foreign investment, and also look into maybe why they're attracting that amount of foreign investment. And then we're also going to show you a ranking of U.S. cities based on their foreign investment dollar amount, and maybe you can see your city on this particular list. This is an article from the Financial Times, and what it talks about is for most of the 21st century, the U.S. has been the undisputed champion of attracting foreign investment. And despite a lot of issues going on inside the United States, foreign investment continues to pour in, and we had a record $468 billion in 2015. What happened in 2020, we understand a pandemic was going on. The U.S. almost got surpassed by China for foreign investment, came within $2 billion between the two. And a lot of people started predicting that China would surpass the United States in foreign investment. There's a lot of foreign investment in China. We know that because they're our largest manufacturing partner, and those manufacturers are going to be U.S. companies. Last year, with China, with its zero COVID strategy, in which they shut everything down and they don't allow any business to take place, it pushed the U.S. back on top with $367 billion in foreign inflows, more than double the $181 billion taken in by the Chinese economy. And 2022 is shaping up to be a banner year with 12 mega projects announced by U.S. overseas investors in the U.S., totaling $34.9 billion in capital expenditure, according to data from FDI markets. Now, here's this graph of the FDI flows in 2020. We see China and the United States were almost head to head. We go all the way down the list. And then if we go to the next year, we see the United States leading China, right? And China being way behind. And we think that's because of their zero COVID policy, in which they shut everything down and they don't allow any business to take place. A lot of foreign investment is scared of that particular policy. They're really not in favor of that policy. And what we saw was that Financial Times and the Nikkei, if I pronounce that correctly, have compiled the inaugural Investing in America rating. This is a data-driven tally of the best cities in the U.S. for foreign companies to do business. Now, the reason why this can be important to you is because you can learn which companies are attracting the most foreign investment. Which cities are attracting the most foreign investment, which can now allow those cities to grow. And then what are they coming to those particular cities for? Because they could be coming there to build factories. They could be coming there to do manufacturing. They could be coming there to do technology hiring. And then that can put you in a position to not maybe directly benefit from it, but you can provide ancillary services to that particular sector of the economy and put you and your business in the best position to be successful, because you may hear that company XYZ over the next 5 years is going to outlay, let's say hypothetically, $1 billion into this particular city, and they're going to be providing this, and then you can provide ancillary services to people that provide that. Or you can just be a restaurateur and you want to open up a new restaurant because you understand that if they provide that, that's going to bring 10,000 more jobs, and those 10,000 people are going to be looking for some place to eat. And this is really how economic systems are built. You have the initial outlay of capital based on they like the environment, and then that brings on a lot of ancillary businesses that are living off that initial outlay of capital. Now, many of the metrics, the FT and the Nikkei, are used to measure cities are the same that any domestic company would consider to decide where to invest. Skilled workforce appeared in nearly a third of U.S. projects announcements from foreign investors last year, according to FDI markets. The top 20 cities in this particular ranking secured nearly 1/3 of FDI projects announced in the U.S. last year. Some have been hailed as the great multinational hubs. Miami, gateway to Latin America for over half a century, has secured more than 70 new projects from the region in the past decade. The Toyota investment is a sign that North Carolina has become somewhat of a hub for such cities, joining other Southeast with pro-business labor laws and low corporate taxes. And the state of North Carolina has 3 of the rankings in the top 20. That'll be Charlotte, Raleigh, and Greensboro, with executives citing the state's lower cost of living as a key driver. Here's this ranking of FDI major projects inside the United States. We see in 2020 it dropped off, and we see in 2022 it's really started to expand, almost to where we were at in 2013 and also 2015. Smaller cities become targets of foreign investors because of low cost of living, low taxes, cheap rents. Louisville, Kentucky came in first in our business environment category. Office space in that city averaged $19.37 per square foot in 2021. That's less than 1/3 of the cost of space in New York, Boston, and San Francisco. And we're seeing that people are still going into the big cities. So in addition to Miami, We also have New York, Boston, and Houston as 3 of the top 5 finishers. Even though costs are higher there, they have really deep talent pools, openness to expatriates, and other specific needs for foreign nationals like major airports and also major ports. We know New York has a lot of universities. We know that Houston has the largest shipping port in the U.S. by waterborne tonnage. And we also understand that half of Miami's population is foreign-born, and that's the most of any large U.S. city. Now let's look into this graph. This is also based on the Financial Times. It's based on this particular ranking. Now here's going to be the categories. So this is what we call the key performance indicators. We got workforce and talent, openness, business environment, foreign business needs, quality of life, investment trends, and then aftercare. Based on those rankings, Miami, Orlando, New York, Boston, Houston in the top 5. What's interesting is that Orlando is really a minor city compared to Miami, New York, Boston, and Houston, but they made it into the top 5. 6 through 10 is going to be Dallas, Charlotte, Jacksonville, Raleigh, and then Kansas City, Missouri. And then we go on down with Tampa, Nashville, Plano, Texas. You see a lot of Texas and a lot of Florida, and you also see North Carolina in the top 10. Mizzou found its way in there. We expect New York to be there because it's just such a big multinational city, and it's always attracting foreign investment because New York is very much a financial capital of the world. They're going to always attract foreign investment. I don't think there's a way to get around that. But it's interesting when you see smaller cities like Orlando, Jacksonville especially, Raleigh, and also Kansas City in the top 10 for foreign investment. You can go to this particular page. You can manipulate this on your own. You can weight these rankings the way you want it to, and it can maybe pull up other cities. You can go and look at this on your own. And what we will do is we will put the link for this particular page in the description so you can look it up on your own. However, if you live in any of these cities or you don't live in any of these cities, it maybe can give you an idea of where you think the expansion is going to come and what may be the best city for you to move to, okay, based on what kind of life that you want to live. Because we already know that Miami, New York, Beantown, Houston somewhat are very expensive to live in. There's no getting around that. They're not going to become less expensive. They're probably just going to become more expensive. But maybe if you look at some of the secondary cities, maybe the Charlotte, the Jacksonvilles, the Raleighs, the Kansas Cities, they may be great places to move into because they're maybe in a growth stage before they start to blow up. The same thing with the Tampa, the Nashvilles, the Planos. The cat's already out of the bag on Austin, and then you could go on down. And you can decide as an employee or a person that maybe wants to start a business, what's going to be the best place for me to move to, because their Economic Development Council is doing a really, really good job of attracting foreign investment, which is the job of the Economic Development Council. Hope you got some value from it. Hit me up if you got any questions. David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. I'll talk to you later.